In a deeply troubling moment captured on camera and rapidly shared across social media platforms, Monica Mayers, also known by her previous name, Monica LZTH Hernandez, and her husband Tod Lalone, have found themselves at the center of a national controversy. What began as a local confrontation between a couple and peaceful demonstrators has evolved into a searing public debate over hate speech, parental responsibility, and the role of corporate accountability in an age of viral justice. A tense scene captured on camera, the now viral video opens with Monica Mayers behind the wheel of her vehicle, her children clearly visible in the backseat. Despite their presence, Monica begins shouting at a group of peaceful demonstrators outside. The phrase "go back" can be heard, an outburst that sparked immediate alarm among onlookers. Moments later, she exits the vehicle, leaving her children alone, and approaches the protesters in a visibly aggressive manner, attempting to snatch pamphlets from their hands. Bystanders described the event as hostile and terrifying. Families who were present recounted feeling surrounded and verbally attacked. One witness described Monica and Tod's behavior as not just inappropriate, but overtly menacing. "They circled us, screamed hateful slurs, it was chilling. And her kids were right there, watching all of it unfold." Allegations of violence and escalation, the situation intensified further when Tod Lalone, reportedly employed by Honeywell Aerospace in Torrance, allegedly attempted to strike a female protester. Witnesses say his actions crossed the line from heated disagreement into possible physical assault. This development has prompted widespread concern, not only because of the violence itself, but also because of the presence of children witnessing the entire ordeal. Both Monica and Tod's professional affiliations were quickly uncovered by internet users. Monica is employed by Southern California Edison, and as outrage spread, social media users began tagging both companies, demanding consequences for their employees' actions. The involvement of major corporations brought added scrutiny and heightened the stakes of the public backlash. A viral outrage fueled by social media, the speed and scale of the online response were staggering. In the hours following the video's release, hashtags calling for both individuals to be fired began trending. Social media users expressed particular distress over the emotional well-being of Monica's children, who were forced to witness not only their mother's aggressive behavior, but also a charged political and racial confrontation. "This should have never happened, especially not in front of children," one user commented. "This isn't just about free speech anymore. It's about teaching the next generation what hate looks like and that it isn't acceptable." The internet's role in the fallout has raised familiar ethical questions. Is it right to publicly pressure employers based on viral behavior? Where is the line between accountability and public shaming? While some believe the exposure is justified, others caution against mob justice and the absence of due process. The psychological cost to children, perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the entire incident, is the emotional and psychological toll it may have inflicted on Monica's children. Experts in child psychology warn that witnessing aggressive and hateful behavior, particularly from a parent, can have long-term consequences. It can instill fear, normalize hostility, and even influence children's own behavior and worldview. By stepping out of the car and leaving her children behind to confront protesters, Monica not only endangered them physically, but also emotionally. In that moment, her children were left unprotected, caught in the crossfire of hate and conflict. Parents are meant to serve as role models. Children learn conflict resolution, emotional regulation, and social behavior from watching their parents. What these children witnessed, however, was the exact opposite of empathy and self-control. Hate speech meets peaceful protest. The United States history of protest is built on the right to speak out, to assemble, and to demand justice. Peaceful protest is not just a right, it is a vital aspect of democratic life. In this case, the demonstrators involved were not provoking violence, but instead exercising that right. What Monica and Tod allegedly did went beyond disagreement. Their behavior is now widely interpreted as an attempt to intimidate and silence peaceful voices. When hate confronts protest, the stakes become dangerously high. Who gets protected in that moment? And more importantly, who gets harmed? This confrontation illustrates what can happen when hate is given room to act unchecked. It also serves as a warning of how quickly personal anger can escalate into something more sinister, especially in public and emotionally charged situations. Corporate response and accountability in the aftermath, both Honeywell Aerospace and Southern California Edison were bombarded with messages from concerned citizens demanding action. Publicly, these companies have codes of ethics that extend to employee behavior off the clock. As such, the conduct of Monica and Tod has the potential to damage not only their personal reputations, but also those of their employers. This raises a significant issue about corporate responsibility. When employees engage in acts of aggression, racism, or hate speech, even outside the workplace, what obligations do their employers have? In today's world, where videos go viral in minutes, companies are being held to higher standards of accountability than ever before. But public accountability through social media also walks a fine line. It can hold individuals responsible, but it can also ruin lives before a full investigation is conducted. Companies must tread carefully, balancing swift action with fairness, transparency, and the presumption of innocence until guilt is confirmed. From viral moment to social movement, the video's virality ensured that this story would not fade quickly. Activists, public commentators, and ordinary citizens have seized on the moment to call for broader discussions about hate, racism, and public accountability. For many, the incident is symbolic of a much larger problem, the normalization of hate in everyday life. But amid the outrage, there is also opportunity. Moments like this provide a chance to reflect on what kind of society we want to be. They force difficult conversations, and they demand that we consider the long-term impact of our actions, especially when children are watching. Looking ahead, lessons from the fallout this incident leaves behind a wake of pain, confusion, and a multitude of unresolved questions. But it also offers important lessons. 1. Accountability matters. Hate speech and aggression, particularly in public and especially when children are present, must have consequences. Individuals should be held responsible for their behavior, legally, socially, and professionally. 2. Children are always watching. As parents and role models, the behavior adults display has a lasting impact. Moments of anger or confrontation can leave emotional scars on children, influencing their understanding of right and wrong. 3. Public protest must be protected. The right to peaceful protest is fundamental to democracy. Any attempt to intimidate or suppress that right is not just offensive, it's dangerous. 4. Social media is a force, for better or worse. Online platforms can spotlight injustice and pressure institutions to act, but the same tools can also become instruments of overreach and irreversible damage if not wielded with care. Conclusion: a call for change and compassion. The confrontation involving Monica Meyers and Tod Lalone will likely continue to spark debate for some time. It has revealed the deep divisions that still exist in society, the fragility of public discourse, and the urgent need for empathy and accountability. As the nation processes what happened, one truth remains clear: our children deserve better. They deserve to grow up in a world where hate is not modeled by the adults who should be protecting them. They deserve to learn that disagreement does not mean disrespect, and that peaceful protest is not a threat, but a right. We can only hope this incident serves as a wake-up call, and that the outrage it inspired leads not just to accountability, but to real, lasting change.